recommendation. We have a number of items on the agenda this evening, but I want to skip immediately to consideration of the Lindner appeal. So I'll call that case first. It's 23004, and it is an appeal rather than a petition. We need to do a couple of things. First of all, we need to agree generally as to the issue, and the petitioner's statement of zoning request is a little bit cumbersome and not precisely worded, but I think the thrust of it is that the red tag which was issued was improperly issued, particularly because he believes that the good side of the fence is facing appropriately. There were two key arguments that the petitioner made in, as I understand it, there was a lot of discussion, but number one, he said the ordinance is unenforceable because it is vague and imprecisely drafted. Now, that was stated at some length, but that was the essence of the argument. And then number two, the ordinance is not uniformly enforced by the staff. And number three, notwithstanding the first two items, even if the ordinance is enforceable, and whether or not it's uniformly enforced, there is the side that is out is a good side. We need to determine findings, and I have some proposed findings that we can consider. If anyone else wants to add findings, we can reject some of mine or add others or whatever we want to do. But I think that one finding should be, because it was an agreed fact, that the side of the fence facing out has supports and structural elements, etc., because which was asserted by the county and agreed by the petitioner. I think that one finding should be that the county is entitled to certain deference as to their opinion and interpretation of the ordinance, because that is, in my view, an ordinary statutory construction item. Number two, I think the county does in fact uniformly enforce the ordinance as to this question of which is the good side. Whether or not there are exceptions for fences here and there in the county, I don't think we should make a finding on whether or not there are fences that have the wrong side out. I think that the finding should be that the county attempts to uniformly enforce the ordinance. Number three, the plaintiff's argument is essentially a disagreement to what is a pretty clear interpretation by the county. Number four, the quote good side suggests that there has to be the better of one of two sides, and the county's interpretation of which is the better side, which is the good side, is really which is the better side. That one's a little imprecise, and I think you understand what I'm driving at, if there's a better way to word it. But to say the good side out, the good side, there's two sides. One of them's the good side and one of them's not. Next, the argument about the vagaries or imprecise nature of the drafting of the ordinance is, to me, pretty much a specious argument. Particularly given the unrebutted testimony from the county that all ordinances, all zoning ordinances are drafted in much the same way. Number 6, the opinion of the neighbors or the world at large that this is an attractive fence on both sides is entirely immaterial. That would be an issue if we were here being asked to grant relief or a variation or a conditional use, but not if we're here related to an appeal about whether the red tag was properly issued or not properly issued, or whether the good side is in or the good side is out. Now, I don't have any other proposed findings of fact. The reason we have to go through this is the staff can't participate in helping us draft findings of fact. So I'm sure there may be some differences of opinion about whether these are proper findings of fact or whether there are other findings, or whether, you know, one or all of my proposed findings are proper. So does anybody have any comments about that?
No, I like yours. I might have a couple to add to move this along. I would make a motion that
Before you make a motion, let's get
Okay.
some of the
All right.
general agreement.
then here's what I would have to add to it. Ignorance of the ordinance is not an excuse. Once it was red tagged and they explained to him the problem, he didn't stop. He continued to do it. And he built this himself. And in the testimony, he came pretty close to qualify himself as a builder, which brings him definitely to a higher level. So, and in my mind, it's just, when you say the good side, I put up fences in my house. I've had people put them up rather, and it's always been clear. And I noted that he did not answer the question when it was posed to him by the state's attorney. Why did you choose to put the size you put on the inside? So those are my reasons.
Okay.
And I think if you want to take those as facts.
So whose township is this?
No.
Right here, it's Murphy's or,
No,
well, actually, we don't have anybody here.
Yeah, we don't have anybody.
Oh, okay. So, well, it doesn't make any difference whose township it is.
No.
I was just gonna call on them for
No.
comments. So you want to make a motion then, Mr.
Okay,
Fetter?
I would make a motion to affirm the red tag and deny the appeal for the reasons that we have stated so far.
And to adopt these findings of fact?
Yes, stop the finding facts, and that would be the basis of the,
Make them, let's make them, well, okay, we can make them a joint motion.
I'll second that.
Motion then by Mr. Ketter, seconded by Ms. Anderson. Does anybody quarrel with the findings of fact?
No,
Anybody want
I
to
just
word them or?
Go ahead,
want
I'll
to
just-
add that what really struck me when they were starting to talk about finished side, thinking of studying a wall, and the drywall goes on the outside, not the inside. Now, don't take me wrong, your fence is beautiful, but what caught my attention was when you kept going after you were attacked. That's wrong. So,
Well, frankly, I don't think I think it goes to, I don't think we can punish a petitioner for going forward and standing on his rights to go forward. But I do think it undermines the petitioner's credibility when he says it's a vague ordinance, therefore unenforceable. I am not inclined to accept your invitation to resolve those vagaries by meeting with you. So it's a little tricky. You can't punish somebody because they didn't get a permit. You got to grant them relief or don't grant relief. And you can't punish somebody because they went forward.
that's
You
not a,
can consider their credibility when they say,
that's probably what it is.
you know, this is vague, and I had a chance to resolve the vagaries, but I just figured
Maybe I stated wrong. Mine was that once he was told, he no longer had ignorance. So to say that he never knew this or anything else, ignorance, it's twofold. Ignorance of the ordinance is not a defense, but second of all, once you're made aware of it, you cannot, then it becomes complete argument. You can't say, well, it was never clear to me.
okay. So, anyone else want to weigh in? Ms. Anderson,
Okay, I'll go with the,
anything? Nothing from Mr.
The
Murphy?
only point I think just to emphasize that the ordinance does use the word "the," and I heard quite often during testimony, a good side of the fence, which is different because "the" is the definitive article. It means there is a standard. And because of that, the person that wrote the ordinance are the people that are going to define the standard. So that just goes.
You know, Mr. Schultz, that is exactly what I was driving at with my clumsily worded finding of fact. It's the good side. It's not any side could be a good side if they're both nice.
Right, so that pushes me toward both findings of fact,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
so my thoughts are just quick little stories. So I have a townhome in an HOA. I hired someone to do windows. They did a big thing on full frame and replacement. I had no idea what that is. Let the contractor do that. Well, the contractor didn't cover that. We got fined and we got stopped. We had to replace the windows. A lot of, consternation because I wasn't focused on that. I did not know. Also, a few of you know here in when you go to file political petitions or you have petitions from the county clerk's office or board of elections, all over Illinois, all over the country, it says consult your attorney. You can use another form, consult your attorney. Forms are good, but don't take it for, granted. Ask someone. So I think that just stuck in my mind. So I think to your point there, check with the fence contractor. I mean, the fence is beautiful. It really is. I was struck by how, you did a great job on it. But something like that, your time and effort of putting money and time into there, you got to ask someone in the know type of thing. So I learned my lesson on that one. Uniformity is another one. Things have to be uniform because this county would look horrible if we didn't have uniformity. And so my resolution is cover up that backside of that fence. And just like it looks on the other side, it's gonna maybe, I don't know how much it's gonna cost you, but don't take the fence down, just cover that up if that's what the thing can do. And then now you have the right side of the fence. But when we got this packet, I looked at it and I Googled this side of the fence. I'm not a contractor. It was pretty clear to me. And everyone kind of knows that. So those are my thoughts. But yes, I agree with your findings.
Okay, there's no other comments, then we're ready to take a roll call vote on the motion to deny the appeal.
And I also, do we need, I put it in, maybe it wasn't necessary to affirm the red tag and then deny the appeal.
Yeah,
That's what you said, yeah.
that's the motion. And adopt the findings of fact. It was sort of a triple header. All right, I'm just gonna go down the row. I'm not even gonna, well, Jessica, you can call it.
Member Cutter,
Yes.
Member Anderson,
Yes.
Member Ramon,
Yes.
Member Schultz,
Yes,
Member Murphy,
no,
Member Moran,
Yes.
Chairman Cartle,
Yes, the motion is granted by a vote of 6 in favor and 1 opposed. And so it will not go to the County Development Committee because this is a final determination appealable to the courts. Okay, now we have a couple of other items on the agenda. I think we can still get to those. The first is a approval of the minutes of the Quick Trip case. It's 23-022, and the minutes of the recommendation meeting of August 3. Those have been previously distributed. Is there a motion concerning those minutes?
Second,
Motion by Ms. Anderson, seconded by Mr. Schultz. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Just to continue with the ordinary schedule for recommendation meetings, there is no old business. There is no new business. And do we have any comments from members of the public?
Not digital one, I'm not sure. In person.
Okay,
Can I ask a housekeeping question?
sure.
Or can you just, our next meeting is,
So the 21st, they'll be requesting a continuance, so only Chairman Carthel will be appearing.
so nothing on the 14th?
Nothing on the 14th, so the
Okay.
28th would be the full board.
21st.
Nothing on the 21st.
28th would be the next full board meeting.
Okay, then I'll declare that we're adjourned for this evening.